friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on a very important concept, which is going to be around the Rashi Tulya Navmansh. So guys, I'm very much sure a lot many people who are connected with me on this community, and whenever I have talked about how to study like different divisional charts in synchronicity with your main ascendant chart, I have already explained over there this concept. But just because guys, lately a lot many comments and questions have been coming to me pertaining to the significance of divisional chart and specifically D9 chart in our life. So that is the only reason I thought we can have our discussion on this topic as well. And definitely I will try to explain you the importance of this concept of overlap of the planets through a case study as well. So guys, to begin with, now what do I mean by this concept of Rashi Tulya Navmansh? So guys, that's very simple. As you know that our main ascendant chart, which tells about the major areas of your life, planetary placement, planetary yogas, planetary conjunction, just tells about that in whichever sphere of life you are going to be strengthened or where you are going to be facing maximum challenges. And all these things will happen when the planets will get active, whether in the dasha or whether in the transit. Now comes the other part, which is the D9 chart or the Navamsa chart. So the importance of D9 chart is to such an extent that you cannot come to any conclusion while looking at any of the yogas, while assessing the strength of the planet, even while predicting anything. Without looking at the D9 chart, you cannot conclude anything. Without looking at the D9 chart, you cannot predict anything. So now guys, in a way you can also understand it in this way that a D9 chart just tells you about the true strength and dignity of the planets. So now guys, all what you have to do is that just because D9 chart is the 9th division of your Rashi, so that in itself tells about that D9 chart in a way is the chart of your Bhagya, of your good fortune. And like the way we say this thing guys, that what is the maximum labh or profit or gain of your good fortune. So from the 9th house, if you will go 11th from it, you will come to the 7th house, which is the house of your marriage. So that is the only reason D9 chart is also seen pertaining to the matters of your matrimonial life, like the characteristics of your partner, the timing of the marriage, all of that can be done through the D9 chart. Now guys, comes the question of the Rashi Tulya Navmansh. That is, all what you have to do is that you have seen your main ascendant chart, which will tell about your life path, which will tell about your personality. You have seen the planetary alignments in the D9 chart or the Navamsa chart, which will tell about your prospects of your luck, your concerns of matrimonial life, and the true strength and dignity of your planets. Whatsoever you will see in the main Lagan chart to authenticate their true dignity, you will validate their strength in the D9 chart as well. Now guys, all what you have to do is that wheresoever planets are placed in your this specific D9 chart, all what you have to do is that you will place those planets in your main ascendant chart and then you will assess it. Now comes the question, what will this approach will tell you? So guys, it will just give us this hint that because in our natal chart, when we look at the Lagan just paves the foundation of our life. Like in every specific area of your life, the houses in the North Indian calculation are fixed. So that means 4th house is the house of your mother, 5th house is the house of your progeny, 10th house is the house of your career. So basis the Lagna, if you will keep the Lagna same, you will find the same environment, same theme, because of the presence of the consecutive zodiac signs. Now because now we are placing the planets, picking them from the D9 chart, so that will just tell about that in which specific sphere of your life Bhagya or fortune or destiny is supporting you, divinity or good omens is supporting you actually in your life. So now guys, after this point, now let's shift to today's case study, and I'm very much sure after looking at this concept through the chart of this personality, you will be able to understand this concept to the core. So guys, the chart which we will be discussing today is the chart of ex-Indian Prime Minister, which was the Srimati Indira Gandhi. So guys, for the Westerners who do not have much knowledge about this person, it's my earnest recommendation that you search her on Google. She is a very dynamic personality which led India through wars, and which also she has been seen as a iron lady who at or during her tenure took some of the very strongest and toughest decision. So like the way we say this thing, that there are certain people you can hate them, you can love them, but you cannot ignore them. So that is the sort of personality or dynamic personality she was. So now we will look at the planetary alignments in her case. We will also look at the planetary alignments in her D9 chart and how the overlap Rashi Tulya Amsa concept actually helped in her case. So guys, and one more thing which I want to add over here is that the way it has been written about her, that she was also a very strong advocate or follower of astrology as well while taking any of her important decision, or like it will not be an exaggeration to say this thing, that she was being always supported and walked around by a team of great and eminent astrologers as well. So okay guys, to first look at her ascendant chart. So definitely you can see that she has got Saturn placed in the first house. So definitely Saturn for the Cancer Lagna natives becomes the 7th house lord and the 8th house lord. So being placed in the first house in itself just tells about that this native could be somehow dedicated and devoted to the public life as well, and these are among those people who even die being in the service as well. So that serviceful approach and attitude we can see with Saturn's placement in the first house. But guys, if you will go by the Kal Purush Kundli, so Saturn, irrespective of the fact that even if Saturn is placed in the first house in the Libra Lagna where it is exalted, but still first house is a house where Saturn kind of feel itself little bit annoyed, and over here Saturn is again placed in the enemy sign. So whenever you have planets placed like this, that in itself makes the personality kind of very stern, very dry, and where if you have to take some tough decision, other people's pain and agony might not even affect you, but these people can be very good in taking some stern, tough decision and how to exert authority. Now guys, as you can see in her case, her Mars is placed in the second house. So definitely that makes your voice very ferocious, your decision making very ferocious. Second house also tells about your values, your ethics, the kind of environment in which you grew up. So because she comes from a political family only, so that we can see with the strengthened state of Mars in the second house. Now guys, moving ahead, as you can see in the fifth house, which is the house of dignity, which is the house of royalty, power, magnetism. So she has Sun and Mercury being placed over there. That in itself is a good indication. After that guys, if you will come to the sixth house, you will see that her Rahu and Venus are placed in the sixth house. So there has been a lot which have been talked about her private life, about her like romantic life and all. And again, it's not a very healthy sign guys, because as you can see that Venus in the original Kal Purush Kundli in the 6th house is not a dignified state. Over and above that, with the placement and conjunction with Rahu in itself is making it a little bit vulnerable. Now guys, the minute you will come to the 7th house, the ascendant lord being moon has gone to the 7th house. Again, that also tells about life dedicated and devoted to the public service. After that guys, her Jupiter is placed in the 11th house. So Jupiter's placement as per the zodiac sign, it is not in a friendly sign, but just because 11th house is the house of wish fulfillment, of large gathering, of influencing the masses. So Jupiter's placement specifically for the Cancer Lagna is a very good placement. Like luck is actually supporting her. We cannot say looking at her chart that her luck is not strong, because 9th house lord being placed in the 11th house is considered as a good indication, and Ketu in any case in the 12th house is considered as strong. Now guys, if you will look at the D9 chart, so in the D9 chart, the first point of analysis is that what is the sign rising in the D9 chart, how it connects with the main ascendant chart. So guys, in her case, her D9 chart Lagna is the 9th house energy from her Lagan chart, which in itself is a very good and fortunate combination. That in itself tells about that yes, this chart belongs to a person who is very fortunate. After that guys, the salient features of the chart, Jupiter in the third house is Vargotam, that is a good indication. After that, Mars in the sixth house is Vargotam, and Mars is also conjunct with Sun which is placed in its own sign. So sixth house in the D9 in itself is telling about that capacity to fight back. That aspect in her chart, in her vibrations, is working out very strongly. After that, guys, Venus is placed in the 8th house conjunct with Mercury. So Venus Mercury, which in itself is called as the Lakshmi Narayana Yoga, is generally a combination where people generally have a very luxurious life filled with all sort of amenities. After that, guys, in the 11th house, if you will see, she has got a very strengthened Saturn, and Saturn is conjunct with Ketu. So again, guys, this is a kind of a typical placement where we say this thing, that Saturn represents your actions, your karma, and if it is conjunct with Ketu, something in this lifetime, whatever your actions are going to be in this lifetime, it is somehow connected with the past as well. The soul has been working towards it to be in that position of power to influence the masses. But guys, one thing to note down over here is that in her case, Saturn is in a very ruthless state, because Saturn in the Cancer, in the Lagan chart, Saturn being so strengthened and conjunct with Ketu, so these are among those people who can take very harsh decision. Again, because chart is in a strengthened state, it is not like that she has got some ill intention or she has got some biased intention. She might have some pure altruistic intention, but in order to implement that, even if she has to take some very harsh decision, she will not, or this person, this chart will not hesitate. Now guys, after that, we understood Lagan chart, we understood D9 chart. Now get into the concept of the Rashi Tulya Navmansh. So guys, all what I did now is that, as you can see the chart now in front of you in the screen. So all what I did is that the Lagan we took from the ascendant. So in the ascendant, she has got a Cancer rising. So all what I did was that I picked the planets with their placement in the D9 chart, and I start placing it in the Lagan chart. So as you can see now, what all we have to study is that how in her life the planets of her bhagya, of her fortune, has supported her, has influenced her. So now guys, if you will see the first house, Rahu from the Navamsa energy is influencing her first house. So Rahu in the first house, Saturn, Ketu in the 7th house is definitely telling us about that. Definitely her persona, her public image is going to be of something or someone who is going to be very formidable, someone who is going to be highly diplomatic, and someone knows how to intuitively get an idea about the moves of your rivals, of your opponents, how to crush any of the opposition. This person knows, or this is how the subtle energy of her bhagya of the D9 chart is influencing her, because Rahu is very strengthened in the first house and Saturn and Ketu are conjunct in the 7th house. 7th house is also of the public enemies as well, and with the public as well. After that, guys, you look at her second house. So Sun and Mars energy from the D9 chart is influencing her second house. So again, guys, second house is the house of your speech, your values, your ethics, what you strongly believe in, and how far you can go to execute that, to implement that. So nothing could be better than that if you have Sun and Mars to be in such a strengthened state in the second house. Now guys, looking at her fourth house. So guys, one thing you have to understand, that for all the politicians, fourth house in a way plays a very strengthened role, specifically in any of the constitution or in any of the like jurisdiction or region where you are contesting. So public should love you. If you actually want public to love you in any of the sphere, somehow your fourth house, if you will find benefic planets placed over there, it is generally considered as a good sign. So no matter how ruthless you could become, but in the back of the picture, you will definitely see that people somehow will be able to see it through, to read behind the lines, read between the lines, that okay, this person is actually very stern, very relentless, but still we love her, we still like her, because it might have something good hidden for us. So that sort of support you get. After that, guys, definitely she has got moon placed in the 8th house. So again, guys, even for the politician as well, Aquarian is a very intuitive energy. Aquarian somehow, the moon in the Aquarian is a very good sign of assessing the public trend, of intuitively knowing about the public sentiment, or having an access to the collective consciousness. And because it's not only moon in Aquarius in the 8th house, so that means intuitively knowing the pulse of the public, of the collective. And after that, guys, Jupiter being placed in the 11th house is again a very good indication. So guys, what did we learn today from the Rashi Tulya Amsa concept? Let me summarize it. When you look at the Lagan, you get to know about the life path of someone, something which will give you concrete information about the significant events of your life. When we open the D9 chart, this is a chart of your luck, your fortune, individually caricature of your soul. Now, how these planetary vibrations, subtle vibration of your fortune, of your bhagya, influences you in your life. For that, you have to pick up those planets from the D9 chart and you have to place them in your Lagan chart. That will tell you about that behind the scene, how these subtle energy of your fortune is influencing you, which specific area of your life is getting empowered and which specific area of your life is getting vulnerable. That we can get to know from the Rashi Tulya Amsa concept. Again, guys, you can follow the same approach for the D10 chart as well. Like in the next video I might do that we will pick up the planets from the D10 chart and we will place them as it is in your main Lagan chart, and that will tell you about when you are doing your job, when you're out there doing your work, doing your job, how the subtle vibration of your karma, of your profession or support for your profession, planets are supporting you. That we can get to know from that. So yes, guys, this was just a one of the basic video. I am very much sure that you must have understood this concept, and basis your suggestions and your inputs, I will look into it that do I need to make another video for the D10 chart as well, or this concept is suffice through this video. So yes, guys, for further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.